Have you ever wondered why John was referred to as the disciple whom Jesus loved? What about the other disciples? Did Jesus not also love them? Of course he did. However, there was something different about John. What was that? Well, if you look at what Jesus said when he was choosing his disciples, such as in John 1:47, Jesus said about Nathanael, "Behold, an Israelite indeed, in whom is no deceit." And then in John 1:42, Jesus gave Simon a new name. "You are Simon," he said, "the son of Jonah. You shall be called Cephas." And then in Luke 7:28, Jesus said this about the prophet John the Baptist: "There is no greater prophet than John the Baptist." What was Jesus referring to? Quite obviously, character, or a special characteristic in their lives. So what do we know about the disciple John? In John 13:23 we read, "Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved." Why would John actually be called the disciple whom Jesus loved? What is it that made John different or special? Well, in John chapter 13, where Jesus told his disciples that he would be betrayed by one of them, why did Peter, who was always saying something, not ask Jesus himself, but told John to ask Jesus? Why? Because John was always close to Jesus, and even reclining on Jesus' bosom. And why did John do that? Because he wanted to know Jesus' heart. Then the very next day at the cross, when Jesus was crucified, who was the only disciple there? John 19:26 and 27 tells us, "When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, 'Woman, behold your son.' And he said to the disciple, 'Behold your mother.' And from that hour, that disciple took her into his own home." So what was it about John that was different? The simple fact that John's relationship with Jesus was personal. And then finally, after Jesus' resurrection, Jesus went to where the disciples were fishing. Who was the one who recognized Jesus? John. Yes, something was different about John's relationship with Jesus. John made it personal. And in fact, it was the very thing that Jesus pointed out to Peter later in John 21, verse 22 to 23. Then Peter, turning around, saw the disciple whom Jesus loved following. Peter, seeing him, said to Jesus, "But Lord, what about this man?" Jesus said to Peter, "If I will that he remains till I come, what is that to you? Peter, you follow me." What was Jesus saying to Peter? "Peter, if you want your relationship with me to be real, you have to make it personal." And the same applies to all of us in our relationship with Jesus. As we can see in Acts 10:34, God does not show partiality or favoritism to anyone. What worked for John will work for you and for me. So how do you and I get into that real love relationship with Jesus and with the Father? Simply do what James told us to do in James 4:8. Draw near to God and He will draw near to you. If you make it personal with God, God will make it personal with you.